The San Francisco Times just recognized Lee Richter as one of the top 100 women in business leaders for nearly a decade. Her interview is right now, and when you get to meet her, you'll see why she is awarded with such amazing accolades. So here's Lee. Lee, thank you for being here. We've been talking about this for a while, so it's so nice to finally have you here.
It is such a pleasure to be here.
Yes.
So beautiful. I saw a big heart in the snow this morning, so I know I'm in the right place.
You are in the right place. Tell everyone about yourself and your businesses.
Yes, I am a serial entrepreneur. My name is Lee Richter. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area most of the time. And then part of the time I live in Maui because Hawaii is my happy place. And I actually just flew in from Hawaii.
We got you here.
I still have the glow of happiness from Hawaii and creativity, which is where I blossom the most, I guess. I have businesses in the Bay Area. One is a holistic veterinary hospital. It's on Piedmont Avenue in Oakland. People come from all over the world to see us. It's astounding how many people we help, and it's just incredible how many pets we help along the way. And it's such a great thing to do. You know, I love my team there. I love their passion, their work, their effectiveness. We're doing so many things to help animals have a better life and a healthier life. And then I also have a PR and marketing company, and that's my passion. While my husband's into medicine and being a veterinarian, I'm into PR and marketing. That's my love. And I've been doing that for nearly 30 years, I guess. I started in Washington, D.C., and then San Francisco, and I've been there ever since. And I just like creating value and sharing people's stories. That's what I really love to do.
Well, not only that, I think you're a master connector of people. If I need to know someone, I know to come to you first.
Thank you. I do love people. I think that's one of my secret powers is that I just absolutely love people, and I love connecting people. It is really one of my superpowers, for sure.
So tell us about your start in business. Kind of show us an example of following in your footsteps into creating something.
Well, let's see. When I was 21 years old, Merrill Lynch actually hired me. They recruited me right out of college. And my first job was in finance for 14 years. And they sent me through programs to literally learn how to be a certified financial planner. And I was really lucky to get that education. My first coach was Lou Holtz, who at the time was a coach for Notre Dame, and he was the football coach to watch. But what he did was he came in and he taught us discipline. He taught us things like how to create habits, how to take stories out of our brain that don't serve us for a bigger future. We worked on it for 2 years. We worked on stories that were family money stories. Ironically, there were 50 of us that were chosen for this class, and for 2 years we talked about what are our family stories, and then how do we rewire it for a better future? So I will say mentors along the way have helped me a lot. So my first job at Merrill Lynch gave me my first mentor, which was Lou. And
Wait,
then,
I have to stop you there.
Okay.
Because Lou Holtz is a legend.
Yes.
But tell us more about these stories, these money stories, and then how we break them and fix that, because I think that's really huge for us to learn.
You know, it's interesting because it was 21 when I started that program with him, right? So I worked with him from when I was 21 to 23. And out of the 50 of us, what he did was we all wrote down our family stories. You know, money doesn't grow on trees, money's the root of evil, just whatever it is that anyone had as their money stories. And then we just dispelled each one of those. Each meeting that we got together, we would take a story and we'd break it apart and we'd turn it into something that helped us have a better future.
Will you walk us through that?
What that felt like?
No, well, how do you break up a money? Let's say we believe money, it's hard work. You have to really work hard for money.
And that is a big story that people
Yes.
have. And actually, I even have family members that say that, like, oh, it's so hard. Life is so hard. Work is so hard. And I'm like, it's hard because you're telling yourself it's hard. So a lot of it starts with the stories we tell ourselves, right? So if I tell myself, today's the happiest day and I love my life, and that's how I start my day, guess what? It starts a lot better than, oh, it's so hard and I don't really want to do that. So I think the first thing I do in the morning, which I did learn these skills back in these days training with Merrill Lynch, is the first thing in the morning I tell myself, today's the happiest day and I love my life. And my daughter and I have been saying that together every single day since she was like 4 years old. And now she's 16. And I'll tell you, it's very much imprinted in her. Today's the happiest day and I love my life. But back in the beginning, when she was 4 and 5, and I'd say today is the happiest day, she would ask me questions like, how do you know? It just started. Mom, why do you think today's the happiest day? And we'd have conversations around, today's the day you're in. And your mind gets to put you in the position of experiencing it the way you want to. My coach, Dan Sullivan, says, our brain is looking for everything that we want, right? So if we're looking for the good, we'll find the good. If we're looking for it to be hard, we're gonna find it being hard. So if we train our brain to look for what we want to have a better life, we're gonna find those things. One of the things I do is I keep a miracle journal. I know I've shared it with you. And part of the reason is so that I'm looking for the miracles in my life and then documenting it and remembering them and looking for a way to celebrate them. Not just gloss over it like another day, but look for like, what are the miracles that happened today? Things that happened nicely, people I met along the way, just things that, were kismet and happened and were circumstances that were beyond my imagination at one point, but then they came true. Just in Hawaii a few weeks ago, I had a friend visiting me, and we went out on a boat. We had like 5 of my friends that lived there with me. That day we saw over 100 whales. And when I tell you we saw over 100 whales, I'm not joking and I'm not exaggerating. It was one after another after another. It was groups of them. They were doing all these beautiful miracles in front of us. And even the people who lived there said they'd lived there for decades and they'd never seen so many in a day. But our eyes were peered for it. We were welcoming them, and every single one we celebrated. I think when it got like 50, 60, we started being like, oh, another whale. But it was so many, and it was just such a pleasure. But we were looking for it. We were looking for the good. We were looking for the things to celebrate, and all day long we did. And today, they're still sending me pictures from that trip because it meant so much for them. So I think what we were doing was looking for the good, and then it showed up.
Well, something else we were discussing is keeping the journal. What did you tell me after, as I said, I need my own miracle journal? Because why?
Then you get to document the miracles and celebrate them, but you also are teaching your son. I'm teaching my daughter to look for the good, to look for the miracles, to be in charge of our own happiness. Happiness is a science. We get to choose happiness or we get to choose unhappiness. It is our choice.
Okay, so this happened the other day. I know it's a choice, and I was in the not so happy day. So how do we drop that and choose happiness? Let's say we're in it. We're in all our stories. We're in the stress. We're having a really tough day. How do we choose happiness?
Well, I had a happiness teacher come into our office. This is about 13, 14 years ago. And she taught us in 8 classes, all of these things around happiness. And one of them is, it is your choice. So she had us take out a notebook. On the left-hand side of the notebook, anytime we said something was a challenge or we said something we didn't want, we were to write it on the left-hand side of the notebook and then convert it on the right-hand side of the notebook to what we do want. So I'll give you an example. If my daughter is at the front door and getting ready to open the door, I could say, Abby, can you please close the door? I'd like to keep the dog inside and safe. Or I could say, Abby, close the door. I don't want the dog to get outside. He might get hit by a car. I'm saying the same thing, but if I say, don't open the door, I don't want him to go outside and get hit by a car,
That's what you
that's
remember.
a whole different experience than keep him inside and keep him safe, which is what I really want. And I'll tell you, because I own veterinary hospitals, I've heard moms say, I told him to keep the door closed because I didn't want the dog to get hit by a car, and sure enough, got hit by a car. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's almost as if you open the portal for it to happen. Do I understand it? No. I comply with it though, because I've learned if I comply with it and I'm looking for the good and I'm building my best future self, then that's the frame of mind I'm in, that's what I'm doing, and things seem to fall in place a lot easier.
Keep teaching us. Tell me more, tell me more, tell me more.
I mean, it all starts, we have all these guides who've taught us. The movie The Secret has taught us. All these people along the way have told us the little things that mean a lot. And I was watching Brené Brown again. I watched her special that she had on Netflix. And it was about being, in her TED Talk and how it blew up and she didn't expect it, and it was all around vulnerability, and that's not what she usually talks about. However, while she was talking in this special, one of the things she said is that she started looking for the things that were consistent with people that were successful or resilient or having a happy life. She said there were some things that were really consistent, and one of them is starting every day in gratitude. And I know there's all these themes right now, like gratitude, and so many people poo-poo it or say that's not really true. I'm telling you, if you start your day in gratitude, it starts the day different. My friend David Nagel says it creates a spiral up. So if you start your day at even, you can either start spiral up or spiral down. So if you're spiral up, saying today's the happiest day and looking for the good and looking for the gratitude, then it'll keep spiraling up. You're already in a routine going upward. However, if you start below, oh, this is really hard, or it's raining out, or I don't have the right clothes to fit, whatever it is, if you start spiraling down, you have to get yourself back up to even keel and above so that you can spiral up. Gratitude's one of those ways to do it. And Brene Brown says that's the one thing that the most resilient and most happy people have in common, is that they're able to start in gratitude. So I say stick with that. Go there.
I love that. And I started doing something, and you can feel this, even if you're in a bad mood. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And find, like your miracle journal, it can be those small things. It can be your morning cup of coffee. Thank you for this beautiful cup of coffee. It can be that the sun is out.
Absolutely.
Like, it doesn't have to be huge. And little things like that can change your entire outlook.
Absolutely. And it seems so simple. Mm-hmm. And why doesn't everyone do it?
Yes.
There is an app that's on the phone called the 5-Minute Journal that will send me a little note you could set the time. I set it at 9 a.m. And it'll say, what 3 things are you grateful for today? And I have that send it to me. In case I miss doing it on my own, I have that prompt in place because I already know that's one of the tools for success for me. So even though I have my brain and I have my routine and I want to do it, and I listen to BJ Fogg when he says tiny habits, do a little bit every single day. And I've been doing it for years, so I do it. But every once in a while, I'll miss it, and I'll see what a difference my day is. So that's why I put the prompt in for the 5-minute journal. So for sure, I'm going to make sure I hit that every single day. And it makes a big difference.
The other thing I know about you is you are a student of learning. You put yourself in every situation where you can change and learn and grow.
We're learning or we're dying, right? So I love being a lifelong learner. I'm thirsty for knowledge. Right now I'm learning something brand new because of Clubhouse, which is an app that I've been joining in and having fun with for a few months. And what I learned is NFTs and cryptocurrencies. Now, I knew about the cryptocurrencies. I've been in it for a while. However, using the cryptocurrencies in the marketplace to create digital art and NFTs is something new to me.
What's NFT?
It's a digital art piece. It's non-fungible assets that you do online, and it's all traded with cryptocurrencies. And I'm just learning it, and I'll tell everyone right now, just Google it, look up some YouTube videos, and get a little bit of an education, because the next generation's figuring this out, and we don't want to be left behind. And I'll tell you, they're very smart, and they're learning ways to do business around the world. And I'm in the process of learning it as well. It's super fun. It's very complicated. There's a lot of nuances, but I'm a lifelong learner, so I'm signing up for it, and I'm learning every day.
Tell me about all your masterminds and the value of, it's like investing in yourself, isn't it?
Absolutely. People are like, it costs that. I'm like, no, it's an investment in you and your business. So what's happened in the masterminds, I've been part of them for about 10 years, and I've graduated. Each year I'll graduate to different levels inside my mastermind. One of the first ones I started was 2013 with Jeff Walker. It's called Plat Plus. There's just over 30, maybe 40 of us in there. And I love this community. We are so funny. We're in there to launch programs online. We're definitely in there to do that, and we're all launching, and there's been a lot of 7, even 8-figure launches in there. However, what we've learned is we come for business, but we stay for personal development. There's so much personal development and growth going on in there, and it's lovely. It's a beautiful community. For Jeff, it's his extended family, and we feel that. And it just taught me what it's like to be with like-minded, really prosperity-minded people. These are people that are building and growing and launching on a regular basis. They're not standing still. When we're talking cryptocurrencies and NFTs, we're talking about it in that group as well. And then I have a really phenomenal group with just an amazing person named Joe Polish. He's one of my mentors.
Mine too. We love him.
Absolutely love him, adore him, and his entire organization. And he runs the Genius Network and I Love Marketing podcast. And I've been part of that about 2014. I think it was Jeff Walker that introduced me to Joe in the first place. And so that's been a miracle in my life. Just the most amazing connections and opportunities, and a lot of my friends from that group have visited me in Maui, and we've extended our relationships even more. And because they're prosperity mindset, they will go anywhere. We can meet in Singapore if we want to, and that would not be unlikely. And then the other one, the most important one in my life right now, actually is with Dan Sullivan. And Dan runs masterminds at different levels. I'm in his highest level mastermind with extraordinary people. I think there's about 35 of us in there. And Gino Wickman's in there, and he wrote the book Traction. He inspires me all the time. I actually just brought him in Clubhouse, and we had a little fun online with him. And Mike Koenigs is in there, one of the original digital marketers, and Joe Polish and Dean Jackson. And it's just such a stellar group. Not only are we doing marketing and ideas and business development, but I see how prosperity-minded we all are. So even during the pandemic, when we got together, a lot of times we had 6-hour meetings on Zoom. We would meet for an entire day. So much prosperity, so much building, so much possibilities. I didn't hear anybody in there complaining. We all said like it was such a safe place for us to come and grow and be happy about our lives rather than being sad and around some of the people that were not having the best life. So what we were was free to really celebrate in there, right? And it is kind of hard when you see people suffering to be celebrating at the same time, but we gave ourselves a safe place to come in, share our successes, build, and even collaborate more together.
I think me jumping into meeting all of you and now having this network of strong women, as you say, prosperity mindset, it keeps you in constant belief that you can do it. When you're scared, when COVID happens, you know you need a tribe that can hold you.
Absolutely, and that brings up the unicorns. And JJ Virgin started that, and it's a group of amazing women. I was so honored to be included. We went to Maui together last year. We were in Southern California together last year as well. My friend Sage Levine joined me. We actually drove there. We had a car trip and just made so much fun out of it. And the unicorns are incredible. First of all, it's all women. You've met some of them here. And honestly, it's the best support. We have a WhatsApp group. We're always in there cheering each other on. We go in each other's clubhouse rooms and support each other. And it's a whole different way of supporting when it's just women. I will say, there are things we talk about, things that we do that don't exist in the other meetings the same way. So that's why I joined the group, is so I could have that special connection. And it has blossomed into more than I ever imagined.
JJ is like you. She's a master connector, and she craves community, and she just puts people together, and she just has this love and of connecting people. And you're right, the woman community, strong women leaders, these are incredibly powerful, supportive, beautiful women who just want to lift each other up.
It's amazing too, because there's zero competition in the group. And I hear so many people say women are so catty and they're so competitive. You need to put the right ones together. Like, we're all in the same direction. We're moving forward, we're taking care of families, we have struggles. However, everyone jumps in and supports each other. Zero judgment. We even had someone in the group that was running for office overseas, and when she was running for office, she got attacked by other people. And I just loved how everyone showed up to support her, to let her know that's how they think, that's not how we think, here's what we see around you. And we just lifted her up so much. It was palpable how wonderful it was, to see everyone rally around her. And it's happened for other members as well. Some with challenges with family, some with business, but people just step in and really help from the heart.
So what are you excited about now, and what do you want to share with us? You have so much going on. Tell us about what you're doing, what's exciting to you now, what you're creating.
Well, I will tell you, I do have several companies. However, I have separate teams for each company. So I empower the teams, right? So I come in as the visionary, set the vision with them, and then they accomplish things. They come back and they tell me how it's working. In our veterinary hospital, we just did a challenge online on Facebook, and the whole team ran the entire thing. My husband was part of it as a guest. He showed up as talent, but they did the whole thing from beginning to end. They knew how to run it. And so I love that I can empower the teams to share their genius. Right now, I actually just took on a new client and a really good friend, and we're launching some really amazing things this year. So he's the CEO and the founder of Ace Comic-Con. So he's done 181 Comic-Cons in person. More than 5 million people have attended in person. And what we've done is we're taking some of it and we're taking it online and creating some new communities and some surprises that will be announced soon. And I'll tell you, in Clubhouse, I'm going to have some really great rooms announcing some of the things we're doing. So there'll be some global efforts, definitely some celebrities involved, and some NFTs in our life as well. This is part of the reason I'm learning this market, is because we have the opportunity to share artists' art and their visions. And some of this art is 20 and 30 years old and in the vault that we can take out and make relevant today. So I'm super excited about that because I get to empower other people. And one of the things that Dan Sullivan, my coach, has taught me is right now, there's really two places in the world that people are. They're either, they have a better future or they don't, right? In their mind, they think, oh, I have a great future, I'm building my better future. And some people are feeling like they don't. So what I'm seeing with what we're doing is we're giving people hope for a better future. What we're doing is we're sharing ideas, we're sharing examples, we're sharing experts so that people can jump into the hope for a better future, having higher level conversations, opportunities for learning, opportunities for connection, so they don't have to be alone on their trek. And so that's what's exciting for me right now, is helping people tell their stories, but also giving them hope for a better future.
I don't know, there's something about you living that inspires others, that you don't actually have to coach the whole world. You're just doing it, and you inspire others by watching you.
Thank you. It has not always been this way. May 4th, in just a couple months, is the 20-year anniversary of a near-fatal car accident I was in. So I had to survive something that was so dramatic. I only had a 7% chance to live. It was about a year before I could walk again. So for an entire year, I was in a hospital bed with a back brace on and 2 broken legs and external fixators and many surgeries to put me back together. And I think through that process, I learned a few things. I learned my brain does not go to depression, which is really great. My brain saved me. The doctors let me know, thank God for your brain, that's the only reason you're alive, because in my brain, all I thought of is what's next. I never thought poor me or woe is me. I didn't have that piece in my brain. I was just like, okay, what do I have to do next? And then I did it. And I always saw a future. So I was always building into my future. So even in my hospital bed, I was writing business plans. I bought a veterinary hospital. I did all of these things to make a better future for us. And I think that my brain saved me, you know? It wasn't physically, they didn't think I'd ever walk again, honestly. They thought I broke my back in a place that 93% of the population would be paralyzed. Mm-hmm. So I'm very fortunate that I was able to get past it. But once I got past it, I felt like I had to do something meaningful, even more meaningful with my life. And the blessing of my car accident is we adopted an amazing daughter, my daughter Abby Rose. We adopted her on the day she was born, and I call her my gift of the accident. Because where I broke my back, they said, don't even think about it, because if I got pregnant, I would definitely have been, you know, subject to being paralyzed. So they said, if I were you, I'd look into adoption. So we did, and I call Abby, yes, my gift from the accident. She is definitely my blessing, and I don't know, she's made me want to have a bigger life than I ever did before. And some of it is just to show her the possibilities for hers. So she inspires me every day.
So stepping into bigger and bigger just inspires the people around you. It could share messages and teach just by doing it.
Absolutely. I think that's what we do. We show by modeling it, not just talking about it, right? So being fearless and jumping in there and trying new things. I mean, I'm doing it on a regular basis.
Do you get scared? Are you still scared?
Well, I mean, sometimes. I think that if I visualize it and I can do it, I'm just going to go do it, right? So
tell me more about that.
Well, that's one of the things like they tell you even athletes do, right? They visualize themselves crossing the line. They visualize it. They see it first in their mind, and then they make it come true. So I think that started with my place in Maui. I really, really wanted to be there more, and I started manifesting a place to live, and then I found an opportunity, and then I've now multiplied that times 4, so now I'm there 4 months a year, and each year I make it a little more worthwhile. But I had to visualize it first and make it happen and sell it to my husband, make sure it was okay with him, and then just create that reality. My life is getting more simple as I'm getting older, though, I will say. I've taken a lot of the complexity out. I am doing a lot of things, but they're things I love doing. They don't feel like work, they feel like passion, they feel like passion projects. Every once in a while I'll get a challenge. I usually turn those away, though. I don't need more challenges. I just like things that are, as Joe says, Joe Polish has a thing that he says, it's the elf mentality. Easy, lucrative, and fun. Easy, lucrative, and fun. So everything has to go through that for me first. That filter, is it easy? Is it lucrative? Is it fun? Okay, it's worth my time. If it's not, pass it on to someone else or let it go.
Can you apply that rule to someone who's just starting out?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You could apply it to anything because you get to design it from your head, right? If you want to learn NFTs right now, you can turn that into an easy, lucrative, and fun project as soon as you understand it. You just pick what makes you happy and then go and take charge.
Is it a decision? Say, okay, so you did say it was kind of complicated, but if you put in your mind it's going to be easy, lucrative, and fun, can you make it so?
Absolutely. You create a step-by-step. So one of the other things that Dan teaches is that there's two different ways to approach projects. One is as a simplifier, the other one is a multiplier. So the simplifier takes complex concepts and drills it down to bite-sized pieces. It's a genius. Actually, that's exactly what Dan does on a regular basis. He takes strategic coach, takes complex concepts into simplified pieces. My husband does it in holistic medicine. Gino Wickman does it in How to Run Your Business. They take complex concepts, step-by-step guides. Then you bring in the multiplier that tells the world about it. Each is its own genius. Each has its place and timing. But when you put it together at the right timing, it's brilliant. However, they are opposite.
Yeah, should you hire, let's say you're one, you know you're a simplifier.
Right.
Do you hire the magnifier?
You have to find your multiplier.
Okay, you can't be both.
Generally, you're really great at one and it is absolutely your genius and you can do it with ease, and the other one you might be able to do, but it feels like work. Mm-hmm. And once you realize which one you are, which by the way, I have friends that thought they were multipliers, and what they realized is they were the simplifier, but their business or their company was the multiplier. So even this film company could be, right? Because the film company, first you have to be a simplifier step by step. What are you doing each day? Who's gonna be there? What's the call? What's the timing? What's the lights? All of those are step by step. But then once the film is done, the editing's done, at the end, you need a multiplier to tell the world about it. So your multipliers will be a lot of people in the movie because I know they're multipliers and you're gonna wanna ask them, but there's gonna be other people and the company is a multiplier at that point.
It's fascinating to look at it that way.
It actually helps a lot of people because when you look at different profiles, you'll see, like in the DISC profile, you'll see who's the researcher, who's the follow-through person, who's the visionary, who's the tactile person that creates things. Each person has a place, but again, it's in the timing, right? I want the visionary to come in first and set the vision. Then I want the researcher to come in. Not too soon though, because if the researcher comes in too soon,
they'll shut down
the visionary.
Yes.
And the thing about the visionary is the visionary has an idea that leads to an idea, that leads to an idea, that leads to an idea. If it's cut down too soon, you don't get to the big ideas. And maybe they won't work, but the big idea might have pieces in it that will work. And so you have to get to that. So if you fill the room with visionaries, thinking is huge. But the minute you bring in those people that are like, oh, this is what we can do, this is what we used to do, this is our budget. So it has to be in the right timing. We need them to come in the room. We just don't want them to stop the upward process of thinking and visioning into the future. But then when it's the right timing, you bring those people in to say, here's how we do it. Then you bring in the people who follow through, and you see how excited they get about it, and that'll determine if the project's gonna move forward or not, because you need the team excited about it. We use a book called Sprint. Google Ventures uses it, and it teaches a 5-day process for this. So I recommend that, and you should put it in the notes for the readers list, because Sprint is a really great way for people to figure out how to do that in 5 days. How do you do that in 5 days? Not 6 weeks. A lot of companies, what happens is they come up with the vision, they give it to the researcher, and then 6 weeks later, the researcher's still researching. This way, if you use Sprint, the researcher maybe gets a day and a half, and then you take it to the next person. So it doesn't get stuck in the research department, and the researcher has a deadline. That is one of the things you need to know. When you hire researchers, you have to give them a deadline. Otherwise they'll research forever. So it's just understanding your team and then when to deploy them. And Sprint is a great way to do it because it teaches you how to do it in such a short time. You can make better decisions.
You sound like a master team builder and hirer.
We have hired a lot of people in our day. We definitely have an amazing culture, especially at our veterinary hospital. It is extraordinary. We just had a Chinese New Year party with the team, and they each went around and talked about what they're grateful for. And what they said during the time of a pandemic just blows my mind. It just shows they've banded together, they have each other's back, they're lifting each other. So we've created a culture of learning. Dan Sullivan has a piece in that, though, because he and his team work with my manager, they work with me, and so a lot of the things that we're learning are from him, and then we bring it into the practice. It's really nice, though, because then it's not just our idea, and the team is a little receptive when it's, these global ideas we bring to them. They feel actually very special.
What are you most proud of, looking back?
Surviving that car accident and being here now to talk to you, for sure. Just, knowing that the will is inside. And watching my daughter, Abby, watching her blossom into this beautiful human being, and the way she teaches me and how dedicated she is makes me happy.
I feel gratitude from you, and I think that's what that gave you every day.
Yeah.
Gratitude.
Absolutely. In spades, every single day. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. The way I like to end each interview, oh, you're so inspiring.
Thank you.
And I see the millionaire within her. What does that make you think about?
Well, Dan Sullivan had set a vision for our group that in 25 years, which is now 21 years from now, so we said it about 4 years ago, that we will be responsible in strategic coach for a $15 trillion, 15 trillion with a T. So what that did for me was it expanded my horizons around everything. And this was the first year, let's see, it was actually 2020 was the first year that I signed 2 multi-billion-dollar contracts that I was part of. The first one was 2.2 billion and the second one was over 7 billion. And what that did is Dan Sullivan created a framework for us to be thinking in the trillion mark and how we're going to make positive impact that way. And by the way, in our group, we're coming up with ways to do that. And what that did was now make me in the billion-dollar contract so that I could get to that. So,
because when
it's
you're
a passion.
talking about trillion, billion's nothing.
Right, and plus, there's someone in my group, his name is Steve Krein, and he's raised over $16 billion in funding for medicine. And he does moonshots. And he's sponsored 12 moonshots so far in medicine. And he has asked me if I'd like to be part of and lead a moonshot for the pet industry. So we're putting that together right now. I became an investor in his fund, but he's already raised $16 billion. Like, he's in my group. We're doing this together. And we're lifting each other up together. And it's not really about the money, it's really about the impact.
Oh, yeah.
It's about what can we do with it? How many people can we serve? How many people can we inspire? How many people can we help? And my husband's doing it through medicine, and I'm doing it through people.
Thank you so much for coming here, leaving Maui, and for supporting us. Thank you.
Well, I'll
so
tell you,
much.
it was worth every minute, and just knowing what we are doing and how we're going to inspire people and let them know it's their time too.
Yes.
All of us get to do this together. We get to rise together.
Time for us to rise together.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. You can certainly tell that Lee has been giving advice for decades. She knows what she's talking about. It was so fun to learn that successful businesses and dreams all have specific things in common.
Hi, my name is Karen Thomas. But guess what? That is not important. What's important is your success online. I can help you start a successful, thriving business online, no matter how many times you have failed. If you have a desire to win, you can. All you need is Wi-Fi, a laptop or desktop, and be able to follow simple directions. Reach out to me and I can show you exactly how.